ask anyone where Essex County Highway 611 is, and they probably won't know the answer. But ask them where Eagle Rock Avenue is, and they most likely will know what you're referring to. However, motorists traveling up current-day Eagle Rock Avenue in West Orange are mostly oblivious to the historic nature of their otherwise uneventful and brief journey. However, more than a century ago, this steep grade of Eagle Rock Avenue helped play a small but vital role in the development of early automobiles. By 1900, transportation outside of big cities and urban areas in countless small towns across America, such as West Orange, was pretty much dependent on horse and carriage. But the dawn of the 20th century ushered in the promise of new technological wonders, such as the future potential of the horseless carriage. Railroads and trolley lines provided transportation over vast networks, but the automobile not only seemed adventurous and exciting, it could travel to locations where the rail and trolley lines didn't go. At the turn of the last century, motorized vehicles began to displace horses as the primary means of transportation throughout the country. At the time, a wide variety of ideas were all being experimented with as motive power for the new emergent technology of the horseless carriage. Gasoline and steam-driven engines, as well as electric-powered vehicles, were all being developed. By no means was it a foregone conclusion what would or could efficiently power the first automobiles. In the early days of what would become the automotive industry, trial and error played a big part in the overall development of the first vehicles. Engines powered by gasoline, steam, or electric were far from a proven technology, and experimentation in all forms of motive power was desperately needed. Early manufacturers didn't have elaborate research facilities until decades later. In the beginning, most were housed in small garages and machine shops with limited testing capabilities. The only real way to see what worked and didn't work was to take to the open road. But therein lied another problem. Existing roads at that time had been developed for horses, not cars, which added overall to the problem of adequately road testing early automobiles. In Europe during the 1890s, those developing automotive technology conducted speed and endurance tests known as hill climbs. These events quickly became popular as essential proving grounds for early research and development. Drivers didn't compete directly against one another as in a modern-day race, but rather competed individually against one another for the best time over a specified course in various classifications for gasoline, steam, and electric-powered vehicles. Hill climb competitions soon found their way to the United States. This is where West Orange's Eagle Rock Avenue comes into the picture. This location near the bottom of the hill was the starting line. On November 5, 1901, the first Eagle Rock Hill Climb event took place up Eagle Rock Avenue. It attracted hundreds of curious spectators and was sponsored by the Automobile Club of New Jersey. It used the steep grade of a then rural Eagle Rock Avenue as a proving ground. It was the first automotive hill climb in New Jersey and only the second or third in the United States. This set the stage for what would become an annual event in West Orange for the next few years. Following the first Eagle Rock hill climb, hill climbs expanded exponentially to all parts of the United States and eventually developed into larger competitive racing events. But nearly lost upon history is where automotive hill climbs began and the role West Orange played. It can be said that the early development of the automotive industry as we know it today traveled this route up Eagle Rock Avenue. The course for the Eagle Rock Hill Climb began at the bottom of Eagle Rock Avenue and continued up the hill to the finish line inside the Eagle Rock Reservation. It's not known exactly why early automobile enthusiasts may have been attracted to the steep grade of Eagle Rock Avenue, ranging from an 8 to 12% incline. But as early as 1888 and regularly through the 1890s, it had become popular with bicyclists for endurance runs and competitions. So with the advent of the automobile, it likely made a natural progression in its tradition as a challenging proving ground. At the turn of the 20th century, Eagle Rock Avenue in West Orange was what could be considered a rural country road. The The road surface was only a hard-packed macadam, better suited for horses, foot traffic, and bicycles. But the roar of the automobile soon set a grueling pace as it ushered in a new era, leaving behind the days of horse and buggy in its dusty wake. The hill climb was not like a modern-day auto race as we know it today. Drivers competed individually against one another for the best time in 3 classifications for gasoline, steam, and electric-powered vehicles. The event attracted both local participants, and in 1901, some came from as far away as New York, Ohio, and Massachusetts. The most notable that year was Charles Duryea of Springfield, Massachusetts, who only a few years earlier, in 1893, achieved widespread fame by perfecting the first ever working gasoline-powered engine in America. Shortly after 2 o'clock on November 5, 1901, Kirk Brown, the official starter for the first Eagle Rock hill climb, stretched a white tape across Eagle Rock Avenue at this exact location and instructed the first car to take its position. W.R. Royce pulled to the starting line, ready and anxious to go. He gave a confident nod to Kirk Brown, indicating he was ready. Brown shouted, "Go!" and Royce became the first to ascend the steep grade in West Orange at the first Eagle Rock hill climb as he rode off into history from this very location. Charles Duryea captured first prize in the category for gasoline machines and set a new world record of 3 minutes and 45 seconds in the process. The fastest overall time was turned in by W.J. Stewart of Newark in the steam-powered category in an amazing time of 2 minutes and 43 seconds in his number 13 car named the Yellow Scourge. I'm here at Eagle Rock. As I previously mentioned, the finish line for the hill climb was inside the Eagle Rock Reservation, but it requires some explanation to understand exactly where it was. The present-day entrance to Eagle Rock was created in 1957 when Eagle Rock Avenue was realigned. At that time, the entrance ran directly into the reservation into a T configuration, and Eagle Rock Avenue continued to the left. The 1957 realignment rerouted Eagle Rock Avenue to curve away from the original entrance. Today, the old roadbed is hardly recognizable and well concealed by the passage of time. But at the turn of the last century, this was the exact location where Eagle Rock Avenue came up into the reservation and made a sharp left turn, heading towards the finish line. It may be difficult by today's standards to imagine the early automobiles speeding past this point, but this is where the crowds of yesteryear gathered to watch the exciting finish. Old photos from the years of the Eagle Rock hill climb show the cars approaching the finish line in the final leg of the hill climb as curious spectators looked on in amazement, because it was an equally exciting time for those watching the race as it was for those driving the cars. Making it up the hill was a grueling task and not guaranteed to any driver. So at the sharp left turn at the top with the finish line in sight, true grit and sheer determination was the driver's best allies. They were competing against the clock for an official time, but in many ways it was also an unofficial match between man and his newfangled machine. At the time, the Eagle Rock hill climb was considered the most prominent and prestigious event in the country, and the finish line here at Eagle Rock Reservation is the forgotten place where new world records were made and broken in the early and exciting days of motoring competitions. The Eagle Rock hill climb was held in West Orange each November from 1901 to 1904. During those years, a liquor store owned by William J. Wosendike was located where the Quigley Municipal parking lot now is. The second floor of the store was used by race officials as their headquarters and as a vantage point from where they could witness the start of the race. The area further past this point on Harrison Avenue was used as a staging area for the cars prior to the race. After 1901, drivers were allowed a flying start down Harrison Avenue, so by the time they passed the starting line, they were already moving, but the clock didn't start recording their official time until each driver passed the starting line. The building currently occupied by today's West Orange Pharmacy actually dates to at least 1901. At that time, it was a cafe and restaurant with a hotel on the upper floors, also owned by William J. Wosendike, and today bears silent witness to all the early automobiles that once passed this corner. A photo from the 1904 Eagle Rock Hill climb shows the pharmacy building and another building still standing today that was standing on Main Street at that time. The 1904 photo also shows the gathering crowd at the bottom of Eagle Rock Avenue as the trolley from Orange tries to make its way past a street filled with spectators and other automobiles. The event had become so popular and attracted thousands of spectators that town officials had decided to intervene and discontinue the hill climb following the 1904 race. It simply had grown too large and was deemed no longer safe to use Eagle Rock Avenue. The crowds had become too large and unmanageable for race officials as spectators spilled out onto the race course. Safety had become a real issue, and West Orange officials refused to issue permits for the 1905 hill climb. On November 3, 1951, vintage automobiles once again returned to Eagle Rock Avenue for the 50th anniversary of the first hill climb. But the Golden Jubilee was held in a driving snowstorm with icy road conditions and was more of a ceremonial parade of old cars than an actual racing event, as it had been in years prior. This surviving water-stained poster bears witness to the wet conditions experienced by drivers on that day. It's unlikely that all 115 automobiles showed up as anticipated due to the snow and icy road surface. Similar hill climbs were conducted in 1956 and 1976, but never came close to recapturing the anticipation and excitement of the original Eagle Rock hill climbs of 1901 to 1904. This rare color film from the Eagle Rock hill climb of 1956 shows cars passing the very recognizable intersection of Eagle Rock Avenue and Valley Way, very close to the original 1901 starting line. It also shows how the hill climb was nothing more than a ceremonial parade of vintage automobiles in 1956, but very much kept alive the spirit and tradition of competition dating back to the days when early automobiles actually raced past this point on their way to setting world records at the time. Perhaps the only surviving film of the Eagle Rock hill climb is this rare film from 1903, which was found in a film canister labeled Auto Race, Orange, New Jersey, 1903. It was likely mislabeled as Orange and is actually West Orange, and the auto race it is referring to is most likely the Eagle Rock hill climb. But it does remain unclear exactly where this could have been on Eagle Rock Avenue, and if it was actually filmed on the day of the hill climb or at another time close to the event. At the turn of the 20th century, Eagle Rock Avenue in West Orange was just a rural country road better suited for horses, foot traffic, and bicycles. This marker will now help commemorate the roar of the automobile from the last century as it set a grueling pace as it traveled up Eagle Rock Avenue. It marks the point where the early automotive industry blazed a new trail into history, leaving behind the days of horse and buggy in its dusty wake as it passed through West Orange. For the Downtown West Orange Alliance, I'm Joe Fagan, and I'll see you on Main Street.